Welcome back to this week's episode of Problematic Women. I'm Elise McHugh.
I'm Morgan McMichael, TVUSA contributor.
I'm Virginia Allen, and we are so pleased to have Natalie Daniels with us today. She is an elite athlete, and you are also super involved with XXXY Athletics. Good friends of ours here. We've had Jennifer Say on this show, and are major fans. And you're actually sporting one of their pieces.
The legit knit dress. Oh my gosh, I probably should have prepared that. I don't know what it was. But I will say it is on sale right now, and if you use code NATPAT20, you get an additional 20% off. So
I need to buy it.
We'll put that in the
small
show
little
notes.
pitch there. It comes in 4 colors. But
Really?
the pink is my personal favorite.
I love
And
the pink.
this print is really fun too.
It
So.
fits
Love
problematic women.
It
Yes.
does.
Yeah.
That is the better product placement today that we have on the show. We also have, I was like, wow, we're really giving a lot of attention to Coca-Cola. But guys, like, I freaked out when I saw that they are going to be putting real sugar in Coke and not high fructose corn syrup. Like, you look at the ingredients on Coke, the first ingredient is high fructose corn syrup. I have not drinking Coke consistently at all ever in my life, and I haven't, like, I let myself have it maybe once a year because it's just so terrible for you. But President Trump announced this week, he was like, I think we have an image of the tweet we'll throw up on the screen. It was like, I spoke to Coca-Cola, I told them they should use real sugar, they agreed to use real sugar, you're welcome. Which is kind of a big deal.
What took them so long?
I don't
Because
know.
they do the cane sugar in the glass bottles. I know I've always like grown up with like Mexican Coke. Ooh, good crisp. You know, I grew up drinking like the quote unquote Mexican Coke that has cane sugar. You get the glass bottles, treat yourself to a Coke. Like everyone loves the original Coca-Cola. So I'm very happy with this decision.
You know, I wish I could be more excited about it, but I am a big Diet Coke girl till the end. I don't think I remember a single day of my entire life where my family didn't have Diet Coke in our fridge. So this is a great day for you guys who drink normal Coke, but aspartame for me, not for
But
thee.
President Trump agrees with that, isn't he a big Diet Coke
He
drinker
loves
too?
Diet Coke.
Yeah,
he's
that's
a great guy.
Stan Diet Coke.
The red button on his desk is for
Yeah, the
Diet
Diet
Coke.
Coke.
The Diet Coke button.
But
We
I
get
guess I
one.
hadn't thought about that. But just because they're putting real sugar in regular Coke, they won't go in the Diet Coke.
Because then it won't make a diet anymore.
I'll take my chemicals.
No, Maha does not approve.
I'll purge in other ways so I can have my Diet Coke.
You're an athlete.
Yes,
You're
exactly. I'll
healthy.
cut it out somewhere else, but I don't know what it is. The real sugar makes my teeth feel weird.
It
so I
makes my
can't do
teeth
it.
feel
Yeah.
like sticky for
Sticky.
some reason.
That's it.
So,
Yep.
you got it.
We got it.
Can't relate. Listen, I know they say that cane sugar is also like cracks, but you know,
At least
love
it's natural. I don't know if we can call cane sugar natural, but at least we know where it comes from. It's not like as genetically modified.
That's true.
True.
Something there. But if you're joining us for the first time, thank you so much for being with us here on Problematic Women. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. If you are listening on YouTube, on Rumble, thank you for joining us via video. We love having you guys. And if you're joining us across podcast platforms, please take a minute, leave us a rating, leave us a review. We love hearing your feedback. We love engaging with you guys on those platforms. Also on Instagram, make sure you're following us there. But without further ado, Natalie, I want to go ahead and jump into your story.
Yeah.
So anytime that I meet a long distance runner like that truly loves it, like a part of me, I feel torn. So I'm like, a part of me has this theory that if I actually started doing long distance running, one day I would love it. I just have never gotten there. And I grew up running short distance, like 100, 200 meters in track. It's a completely different animal than long distance. Did you have a moment in your life when you were like, oh, I love this sport? Did it take a while to get there?
Yeah, so this is my favorite method of trying to peer pressure people into becoming a distance runner. And that is that I was not a runner for most of my childhood. Really until my senior year of high school was the first time that I joined my high school cross country team. Because I didn't want to take gym class. So I was like, they don't make cuts. I could probably slack off and just like wander around in the woods for an hour or something and no one will care. And so that was sort of my first experience of just like, oh, this is actually kind of nice. It's kind of relaxing. It's a little cathartic. And then I went to college and my roommate my freshman year was like a state champion cross country runner. And so I would run with her, and I just kind of started to love it more. And then I ended up actually running for my college cross country and track teams. So I really rapidly improved in a couple of years. And, you know, I used to be really terrified of the like competing aspect of it. Mm-hmm. And so that for sure took a really long time for me to really love and see, you know, the benefits to signing up for these races, and not really seeing myself as like, you know, I have to win or I have to hit this time or something, but to really enjoy the process of training and then kind of getting to the line and really trusting. You know, running is a big part of my faith. And so like getting through a race, specifically a marathon, it's like the first half, I'm just like, thank you, God, for this beautiful day. Thank you for like this great training cycle. And then the last 6 miles is just, please let me get to the finish line. Like, I am begging you. I feel so bad. So it is kind of
it's a full faith journey.
Yeah, it definitely is. But that's like the thing that I really love about it. So that's what's, I think, really sustained my kind of career, specifically in marathoning, is that I kind of like go for that that faith journey.
I love that. Do you have a favorite race?
Yeah, so the Myrtle Beach Marathon is probably my favorite. Okay. And there's a few, I've done it 3 times. I've done the half once and the full twice. But I actually found out that I was pregnant the day before that race in 2024. So I just felt a little off. I
don't know why.
Went to Walmart and I was like, you know, I'm just going to grab a pregnancy test. Let's just see. So I found out I was pregnant in a Myrtle Beach Walmart bathroom. And my sister was like, that's not the first time that's happened, but you're probably the first person who's been happy about it. And so I went into that race. Like the first thing I did, you know, as a mom, was to run a marathon, and I ended up winning. So cool. And then I ran my PR. And, you know, there were some tough parts in that race. And I just remember thinking like, no, baby, like we're going to do this together. Like this is us. Like this is the first thing that we're going to do together. So that's my favorite race. And I came back and did it in a March of this year and won it again, which was cool. So
that's amazing.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
How many marathons have you run?
18.
That's a lot as well.
Yeah. I've been doing it since 2011.
Wow.
And I was 19. Which is crazy.
That is crazy. And you ran a race during every trimester of your pregnancy, right?
Yes. Yep. So I did, a marathon and a half in the first, a half in the second, and a 5K, and then a like silly college cross country meet in the third, which was really funny because I was just like huge. And I'm running against like D1 cross country girls, and they're just like, what is this girl doing out here? Like, you know, you don't have to do this anymore.
You're released.
Yeah,
you paid the fee. You have to run
it. They were supposed to have like a citizens race, and just not enough people signed up. So like, oh, you can just run with the college girls. Like,
okay.
Yes, sure.
How did you do?
Oh, not bad. I beat a lot of college women.
Okay, like, congrats.
Sure, that made them feel
I want to know how they felt after that. Like, dang.
I had a feeling like I had a friend who was a coach, and one of her runners and I were kind of going back and forth. And so I was just like, you got it. Come on, let's go. And I remember like finishing and that girl coming up to me and being like, I was feeling terrible, and you're out here like 8 months pregnant and running the same time that I'm running, basically. Like, this is nuts. So it was fun.
That is so wild. Well, and then you didn't stop there, because you had, and this is where your story really began to blow up. But you were like, all right, I'm going to keep this going. And you signed up to run the Boston Marathon 6 months postpartum or 4 months postpartum?
I was 6 months postpartum when I ran it.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a big move.
Yeah. So I had a difficult pregnancy. You know, I don't think any pregnancy is easy in particular, but I'm very active. So I was in a lot of pain. I just basically didn't sleep the entire second trimester for no real reason. I just maxed out at like 4 hours a night. So I was pretty miserable. And I was, in September, I started having like prodromal labor symptoms. So like extra miserable. And I, you know, was toying with the idea of signing up for Boston because you have to sign up way in advance. So
it's really competitive.
Yeah. So I was thinking about it and I was like, you know what? I'll be 6 months postpartum. If I can just feel good about getting to the starting line, like if I can, if I have to walk, I don't care. If I'm dead last, I don't care. But like, I really want to, you know, celebrate this thing that like my body was able to do, you know, by doing, like, I started pregnancy running a marathon. Let's do the Boston as kind of like a celebration of that, of, you know, just the strength of being a woman. And so I signed up for that, and then jump into it. I saw, you know, shortly after that they were allowing biological males to compete in the women's category. And it just gave me this like sinking like frustration feeling of just like, I signed up to do this race because I wanted to celebrate my feminine strength, so to speak, like the strength of motherhood, and to give myself, you know, something to look forward to in this period that, you know, everyone kept telling me was going to be terrible. Like, oh, it's going to be so hard. Oh, you're going to be so exhausted. And I, you know, thankfully did not have that experience. I loved the first like 6 months of Cooper's life. We had so much fun. I could do the newborn period forever. There's like newborn sleeplessness is fine compared to that second trimester sleeplessness. So it's, but it really, like, you know, I wanted to kind of cap off that first 6 months of his life by having this experience. And so I saw that, and it just was like so frustrated, and had this kind of like conviction, like I need to do something about this. Like I need to somehow react to this, because you know, no one's a stranger to how this narrative has been playing out in our lives. Like, you know, I'm in tune with it specifically in terms of running, but it affects a lot of things, and it's becoming, you know, insidious is kind of the word I want to use, because it's just like it never stops at one thing. So it starts with, well, why can't you just be nice? Why can't you just let them do the race? Why can't you just let them do this 5K? All the way up to now the Boston Marathon, and we're saying, you know, this is the pinnacle of amateur competitive racing, and basically the women's race, we don't care. You can be whoever you want, you can say whoever you are, and all it is about having fun and making friends, to quote Nikki Hiltz, which I guess we can get into that. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so you put a post on social media, correct? And sort of started saying, hey, I'm actually not okay with this.
Yeah, so I had, I guess kind of going back a little bit, I had really felt this conviction for a long time. I'd been going to a church that had sort of been very pro trans ideology, in the sense of like, you know, I think it's, you know, Jesus loves everyone, whoever you are, however you identify, however you see yourself. But they were kind of taking this another step and saying like, no, we need to be not just affirming people in their thoughts of them being transgender, but we need to financially support them in that. And I had kind of reacted and said, you know, hey, I'm really not comfortable with this. I really don't understand this. And it just kind of like, I would pray about it. It's like, if I'm thinking about this wrong, like, please illuminate to me what I'm thinking about it that's wrong. And so there was this sort of moment of clarity when this issue came up of like, this is like, no, you're not thinking about this wrong. And here's a very clear example where you could articulate why this is harmful, why this is destructive to women and girls. So that was sort of the motivation that went into, I actually reacted to Jennifer Say's post about this male individual running Boston. And I said, hey, if you guys came up with some kind of like special Boston kit, I'll wear it proudly. That led to a few different conversations of like, what could we do with this huge event in which we can kind of bring awareness to this issue? Because a lot of people don't even realize that that they were allowing, you know, guys to basically stack up against women in the field. And so I ended up doing an interview with our social media, and we posted it on a Wednesday, and additionally it was just like in the first couple hours, it was like, I don't know, 12 people liked it or something. And then all of a sudden, it was like a former teammate commented on it. And it was just like lambasting me. And from there, it just spiraled. And it was hundreds of people saying like, you're an evil bigot, this is hateful bile, like
welcome to the club.
Yeah. And so I ended up muting that post, you know, because I had really gone into that interview, like prayed beforehand. I'd been really conscious about like, what am I saying? I'm not trying to be hateful. I'm not trying to say that like, you know, dehumanize everybody. That was a word that they used a lot. Deny people's existence. That was another phrase that they used a lot. It's like, that's not what's happening here. Like, I am very focused on the specific issue of women and women's sports and protecting the integrity of that. So I muted it. We drove up to Boston. That was a whole like experience.
From Virginia.
Yeah, drive. It's pretty hideous. But we got there and we were out to dinner when I started getting these text messages from my friends saying like, are you okay? Like, I just saw this post on Instagram and it's really, really mean. And the comments are like threatening you. And I was like, what are you guys talking about? Like, I don't know. So I went to look at it. Nikki Hiltz blocked me, so I couldn't see it. So I had to like, my husband had to like get into like a alt account.
Oh my gosh, just to see what was being said about you.
Yeah. And he was like, do not look at this.
Wow.
And so from there, you know, like about an hour later or something, my club at the time makes this post that's like, you know, we respect everybody's opinions. The the people on our club, their opinions don't reflect the opinions of the club. And then a bunch of people from the club reposted that saying like, she's evil. You know, one person said something about like in the comment section, you know, because they were trying to like figure out where I lived. Oh my gosh. And they were like, no, she doesn't live in Loudoun. She lives in this other part of Virginia. And I was like, I called my coach just sobbing, like on the train platform. We were trying to get back to our hotel. And I was like, what are we going to like, I don't know what to say. Like,
what are you doing?
Yeah. And that's when he said, you know, like, maybe don't represent the club, you know, as much for your own safeties as for, you know, the drama associated with this. And, you know, I'm again on the train, just kind of like crying, thinking like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I texted Jennifer Say, and it's like, does anybody in Boston have like an XXXY shirt I can wear? Because I didn't bring anything. And by some miracle, like I had packed like my full outfit. And I was like, I get back to our hotel and on Twitter, everybody's like really supportive and kind. And I was like, all right, guys, let's go. We're ready, you know? So it was a ride. I got to the starting line and, you know, some of this had kind of continued, and there were people who then had seen that post on X of my outfit, and they're like, we know what you're wearing, you know, we're going to throw bottles at you. And, you know, somebody said something that was like, save a full water bottle, like for when you see her come past, as if they're like launching at me. So it was scary.
Yeah.
You know, I think I had expected pushback, but I didn't expect that. Yeah. And especially, you know, the Nikki Hiltz thing was kind of that was the thing that really blew it up. And one of the things that I had kind of continuously been trying to communicate was, it's like, listen to what Nikki Hiltz is saying and listen to what I'm saying. Yeah. You know, Nikki Hiltz is condescending at the average female runner who's just out here like, we're trying to do the best that we can. You know, the 50-year-old woman who competes in local 5Ks for age group awards. Like, that's who we should be like supporting. You know, this idea of like, she doesn't have to worry about that. She's a professional athlete, a very talented one. Yeah. You know, she's not going to have to worry about this issue, and she's not competing for age group awards. But yeah, I'm kind of ranting a little bit.
So I'm really curious. You say that a lot of people came after you, former teammates. Were there people who individually reached out to you that you knew from your past who were like, actually, thank you for speaking up about this?
Yeah, so a lot of people did that. And they said, a lot of them said, like, I'm afraid to speak out publicly, but I've been wanting somebody to say this for so long. And that was really motivating for me. It was like, I'm going to take one for the team here. Like, and continue being that voice, because there are so many of us, and hopefully me speaking out encourages somebody else to even just take a small step. Like, whether it's buying a shirt that says Save Women's Sports, that's something we've kind of been talking about with XXXY. It's just like, not only is it cute, but it's like you're kind of portraying like your values. Target sells Pride merch, and that goes unchecked. Like, nobody has any issues with that. Like, why is it an issue for me to wear a shirt that says Save Women's Sports? So, some little simple things like that. But yeah, it was motivating.
For sure. What happened with your club after? Are you still in love with them?
No. So, there were a series of conversations that were had between the leadership and myself, and a lot of it kind of centered around they wanted me to make these like series of apologies. So
never apologize.
Yeah, I made one statement to the club that I said, like, look, I understand people. I didn't say it's like melting down, but like people were freaking out. Like, I understand that people are upset. Like, that was never my intention. My intention was never to like single anyone out or, be hateful in any way, or honestly rope the club into it at all. I was very conscious about not saying anything about them, because these are my opinions. These are my views. Yeah. And, this is America. We have free speech, hypothetically.
We do.
Yeah. So, I said that. I was like, look, if you want to talk to me, my messages are open. Send me a text. Like, if I missed the mark in some way, like, please let me know. And within that, there were a couple of like fairly silly points that got made. So I had made this like metaphorical analogy about racing against somebody wearing a banana costume. And so I was running the Myrtle Beach Marathon this year, and there was a guy in the starting line wearing a banana costume. And I was like, okay, like, I see you, banana. Like, I'm gonna make it just like a silly goal. I'm gonna try to beat the banana. And he takes off and he's gone. And it was like, all right, never mind. Not going to worry about that. But I caught back up with him late in the race and ended up beating him by, I don't know, like 25 seconds or something. And so what I had said with that analogy is, it's like, maybe you see somebody on the starting line and you think they're not really my competition. Come to find out they are. It changes the entire calculus of how you run the race. Yeah. So, if I'm in second or third place female and I see first place female and then I see a banana and then I see myself, all right, I'm second place. This is amazing. And then I get to the finish line and find out, oh, actually, I also had to beat this banana. And so they were like, oh, you're analogizing, like trans people are wearing a costume, like you're making a joke about this. And I was like, no, this is based on a real story. Like, this is a metaphor.
Way too much into it.
Reflecting.
Yeah. So I had to like, that's one of the things that they were like,
explain the banana analogy.
Yeah. I basically, it was like a series of struggle sessions of like, this is why what you've said was harmful. And I was like, okay, I can like hear you. I think your interpretation is wrong, but I hear you. But the real final kicking point was we were in the car on the way home from Boston. I'm exhausted by this. Like, they were upset because Jennifer Say had posted something on Twitter that had gone super viral. And they were like, people are upset because she's still talking about this. You need to get her to delete these tweets. And I was like, I don't know if you know anything about Jennifer Say. She is not going to do that. In fact, if I ask her to do that, she's going to do more of it. Yeah. And that's her right. Yeah. So there were 3 requirements. And so the first was I had to make like an apology to the club for dragging them into this, which I was like, I don't really feel like I've done that. Then I had to make a public statement on my social media that said, my views do not reflect the views of Light Horse Track Club. And I was like, okay, like I can do that because that's true. But then the third one was I also had to make a statement on my personal social media that said, I now recognize through this experience that with enough hormones, with enough surgery, a man can become a woman.
Wow.
And I was just like quiet for a second. I was like, I'm not going to say that.
Yeah. It's so disrespectful to say that to you after everything.
Yeah. And I was like, that goes completely against who I know, who God is, how God creates people, how he loves them. Like,
and against everything you had just gone through and made statements of saying, no, we're not going to allow men to compete against women when it's like biologically so different, especially in a sport like running. Like an amateur male runner could not will always be a woman. I mean, like, yes, there's instances where it's back and forth, but I mean, like biologically how men and women run is just so different.
Yeah. And I think that's like, you know, there were some points made, you know, by people. They were like, well, Natalie, you beat guys on the team all the time. And I'm like, but we're talking about caliber of athlete a lot of the time. And like, yes, like there's a caliber of female athlete that is going to like probably smoke most men in a race, but not all of them.
Right.
And, you know, I've been in races where I've gotten beaten by like 12-year-old boys or I've beaten 12-year-old boys and they're like, well, see, like there's the gotcha. And it's like, no, you're exactly right. Like the whole point of what I'm saying is that there's a biological difference. And so, you know, his response was, I'm going to take this to the board. And then the next day I'm sitting on my porch with a glass of wine and they sent me this email that's like, we're kicking you out of the club for hate speech. It was like disrespecting the honor code, which I like ironically had written, like because I had written it about issues with other clubs in this area doing like bullying, like making fun of girls' clothes, like in middle school, sexual harassment, like real serious issues, like real serious issues of like attacking individuals, you know, being disrespectful to people in a race. And so I'd written it with that in mind and they kind of like twisted it around and they were like, when you say that you don't want to compete against non-binary runners, like that's disrespectful to people, that's disrespectful to Boston, to saying that you don't agree with their policy. Wow. And then they had like pulled out all these tweets in which I had like referred to Nikki Hiltz as a girl, as a woman. They were like, you repeatedly and intentionally misgendered Nikki Hiltz with like recklessness and animosity or something. And
buzzword after buzzword.
Yeah, and I was like, okay. Like, and I like when I read it, I was horrified. I was like, is this like how I really am? And this is where that phrase of weaponized empathy really comes in. Because they took, you know, it was like they took these tenets of like my integrity, of my like desire for like to represent my faith, right? In a good way. And they twisted it to be like, no, actually you're evil and bad and wrong and everybody thinks it. And so it was a very hard thing it was a hard thing to read. Yeah.
And did they take out or did they remove anyone from your club that was posting about you?
No, then they never said anything about it. And I had told them, I was like, there are people sending me these like messages in which they are, you know, reposting Nikki Hiltz's thing and saying like, go after her, she deserves it. And the response was, that is a like rational reaction to what people said about you.
But so, the common sense reaction is not a rational reaction.
Okay. Is a rational reaction.
Well, and people were saying it was like, and I had gotten a lot of really good like bring us all back to reality in this moment in which people were like, why do you have to constantly be policing your own thoughts and words? But their frustration is a normal reaction to something that upsets them. Like when you're hearing that people are trying to find your hotel in Boston in order to stalk you, like, you can't possibly get upset about that because you brought this on yourself. But when somebody is trying to stalk me,
it's like, oh,
that's a rational reaction. And so it's really like, at first I was very, I don't want to say timid, but, you know, far more reserved. And now I do feel more confident about what I'm saying, because I've gone through the ringer of this, and I've come out and I've put these things that I think to the test, and have seen how just really, truly destructive like that other side is.
Yeah, it just shows the hypocrisy and the double standard of like, you know, you can say whatever you want to me, but as soon as I say something back to you, like that's not okay. I have a similar story, and I feel like, you know, you build up a lot from instances like this of going through cancel culture. And I know you talked about your faith journey of like everything. When you go through a race, you know, you're like, God, like please help me get through this race at the end. What keeps you motivated like on a day-to-day basis when, you know, I'm sure the backlash doesn't stop, and it occurs for all of us every single day too.
Yeah. So there was, when we were in Boston, you know, I felt, there were a few instances in which I felt this just like wave of just like peace. And it was kind of surprising. And I had my church at home praying for me. I had like I'd like texted, sorry, this is gonna make me maybe a little bit emotional, but I had texted my pastor about it. And I was like, hey, this is what's going on. And he sent me back this huge thing. He's like, here are the verses I'm going to be praying over you. Here are the ones that I want you to be thinking about it. Like by Bible study on Monday night, the race is on a Monday. They were like, we want to know your number. We want to track you. We're going to be all thinking about you. And I know that had a huge difference. But there was one night, it was Easter Sunday, which is the day before the race, where I'm laying in bed in our hotel and I'm reading. And I forget the verse. I should have looked it up. But it was, I just like was reading through the Gospels, and in it, there was a statement that was like, you know, the Pharisees heard what Jesus was saying and they believed, but they were silent because they were afraid of getting kicked out of the synagogue. And I was like, yes, I get it now. And that was a moment that I was like, you can do this. Like you can get to this, you can get to this finish line, and it's going to be a beautiful experience. And like whatever happens, people are throwing stuff at you, people are yelling at you,
so what,
you're gonna be fine. Because like the God of the universe is like here with you. He's
protecting me.
So that was in that moment a huge thing. And I think that's really like whenever I feel like I'm off track, or I feel like I'm convicted or conflicted on something, like I really do like pray about it. I know that maybe sounds a little cheesy, but like
it's true. It's
the
real.
joke is that whenever I think something like frustrating or mean about Nikki Hiltz or somebody else, I'm like, God, reveal yourself to Nikki Hiltz in like the most beautiful way. Like I hope that she has like the best race of her life tomorrow, and that she can't even deny like who you are, something like that. So that's whenever I see something like that, like, and I know it sounds really cheesy, but we've been talking about this.
Pray for your enemies. Yeah. Like that's something so real that, I mean, like I've had to take into my practice with my haters. It's like, you know what? I'm going to pray for those people instead of like me being upset about it on a day-to-day basis. Right. It's like flip yourself around of like, you know what? No, I'm going to pray for this person instead of getting upset about it. And then I can go about my day and live my happy life.
Yeah. And it really does work. I think that's like the biggest thing. I do take things really personally. And this is, I had an experience with a previous running club where I got bullied for my clothes. Like people were making fun of me like behind my back. And when I found out about it, it just was like, oh my gosh, these people had been pretending to be my friends for so long, you know? And it's like, oh, this really is like just like ruminate on. It's like how many other people in my life are thinking about this. And so it really does like, this was a hard experience for that. Like I take that stuff to heart. I think a lot of people do. Yeah. But that has been my strategy for dealing with it. And if it is really intense, I just block them. Yeah.
The block button is great.
It's so good. It's like I made another Instagram account to just kind of highlight my like running journey now with XXXY and now Team Women, which is just such an incredible group of people. And I started noticing that they were making like alt accounts to like watch my Instagram stories and stuff. And I'm just like, we're not even going to get into this. Yeah. Like if you can't engage in a good faith discussion, which I tried to do many times, then I'm not gonna. Yeah, I don't have to participate.
Like, what's the intention behind your conversation that you're trying to have with me? Because if it's to bully me, then I'm not gonna have it.
That really, I do feel like is it, because it does tend to be like this small circle of people over and over and over again, and it's so weird because it's like in one case it's like somebody's girlfriend is telling me I'm ugly a bunch of times. And it's like, does this make you feel good?
Yeah. What's the point?
There's no way. And it really is, I think, to try to undermine us. And it's like, from a conservative standpoint, like I think that's something like we value things like integrity and honesty and approaching things with a set of moral values wherever they come from. Like a lot of us, it comes from faith. For some people, it's just like tenets of the Constitution, but they really do want to undermine that because the goal is this like full-scale disruption of just societal norms.
And like redefining in small ways, not necessarily like, oh, we're going to make you agree to all this and it's going to be really big and dramatic, but like, hey, you need to apologize. Yeah. Hey, you need to make a small statement saying, hey, I do understand this. It's little ways that they're redefining the culture and trying to bully you into it. But you said no because you have that faith background and that moral clarity that a lot of people who are opposed to that don't know. And they don't know that they're craving it, but they are.
Yeah. There was a good article this week that kind of talked about this specifically, in which, the left side of the aisle has really taken this approach of like, you must adhere 100% to this set of like very dogmatic beliefs. And the other side of the aisle is very much like, kind of live and let live. Like, yes, we recognize this diversity of thought. And, that side really tries to use these like bullying and cruelty tactics in order to, I guess, convince people that they're right. And it's just not working anymore. So the more that we keep having these discussions, I think the more people do realize it's like, hey, our side has a way wider diversity of thought than everyone else, and we allow we allow that. We are proud of it.
And it's true diversity, not just diversity of like, oh, we're going to have this many people of this demographic and this, and we're going to let men run against you. But it's like actual diversity of thought that allows for a creative flow of ideas, discussions. Maybe your beliefs will be changed. Like, that's true diversity.
Yeah, absolutely. And even within Team Women, we have discussions like this all the time. We have a whole thread where we just share like articles and we talk about them. And we disagree. And I've had like some of my thoughts changed based on conversations we've had in those chats. And, I think that's a beautiful thing. Like that's a perfect representation of what, like democracy should look like. And, now I'm getting like way beyond distance running, but yeah, I think it's important. And
well, it's a conversation that the whole country is having. You had actually flagged a New York Times article for me that I thought was really interesting. So the headline of the article is Democrats lost votes on transgender rights. Winning them back won't be easy. And the article acknowledges that so much of the country, including Democrats, really do strongly believe men should compete with men, women should compete with women. But the way that they thread the needle is like, oh, Democrats just didn't communicate well enough that we, the Democrats hold to exceptions. And it's like, I think they're still kind of missing the point that truth is truth. And the vast majority of Americans just kind of recognize there's only two categories. There's male and there's female. And we don't get to invent other ones.
There's no degrees to
There's no degrees. And like, I don't really care if it's like, well, you only agree with men competing with women if they've taken hormones for 3 years. It's like, I don't care.
I don't care. And that's how we got in this issue in the first place, because we gave an inch. Like, if you give a mouse a cookie, you give a kid tea, then they're going to be competing against you in races. Like, it just evolves.
And this is the whataboutism of what about intersex people? And it's like, this is where the ideology really eats itself to me, because it's like, how dehumanizing is it that you're taking somebody who was born with, a difference of sexual development, that you're twisting it to fit this like crazy political narrative, and they don't want to be seen as this like mystical third thing. They want to be seen
human
as
beings.
or female. It's not. It really does. Like, and then they get into that's dehumanizing to say that you can't change your sex and.
Once the the conversation and the argument comes to a dead end, they just say like names. You're dehumanizing. You're being a bully. Stuff
immediate
like
name calling.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's so interesting with an article like this that comes out, because when you look at even like the polling numbers and how ads performed, any ad that was against the transgender movement performed so much better than just your typical political ad. Same thing with the polling numbers. Like the majority of Americans do not agree with the transgender issue as a whole when it comes to transitioning children, whether it's medically or even socially transitioning, having it be in sex ed in classrooms, all the way through adulthood. Like American people don't want this. And I find it really interesting that a lot of the radical leftists continue to want to campaign off of this. And, you know, maybe they're changing their tune now, but it's like almost too little too late. I don't think they're going to be able to get their base back after the last, you know, really 8 years of saying, no, we need to trans these kids. And now saying, you know, maybe we should push back on this messaging. Like, yeah, you should, but you should have done that 8 years ago, because common sense will always prevail.
Well, Gavin Newsom, we saw this with Governor Gavin Newsom.
He absolutely knows that this is not a winning issue. He reads the same polls that we do, but he thinks that we don't have the memory of humans. He thinks we have the memory of like a goldfish or something. But he went on the Shawn Ryan Show this past week, and Shawn Ryan's a podcaster in the same vein as like Joe Rogan, Theo Von, real manly. He's an ex-Navy SEAL.
Yeah,
super awesome guy.
It was a 4-hour-long podcast. I will admit, I did not watch the entire thing. I only watched clips, because why would I do that to myself? But he had this one really viral conversation, one tidbit about putting children on hormone blockers and sex changes. And he said like, oh, I have an 8-year-old now, so I kind of understand where the other side's coming from. And I'm like, yet in 2022, you signed a law that said that California is a sanctuary state and that minors can receive these cross-sex hormones.
Not only Californian kids, but other kids can come into the
to his state.
To his state.
And it's like, you're going to say this on this conservative manly podcast, but then you're not going to address that. You're not going to apologize. You're not going to say, this is my stance. And this is what he does time and time again on a lot of issues, not just the transgender issue. He just has a very vague statement, and whoever he's talking to, whoever he's podcasting with, he'll very sneakily word his stances, so we can't tell what he thinks.
And in that article, actually, you know, local example, Abigail Spanberger is quoted as saying, you know, it's this nuanced issue. It depends on the sport. It's complicated, and it's like you have seen, and in Virginia in particular, you know, Loudoun County, Arlington,
Fairfax County, we're seeing these issues like play out and implode nationally in these really destructive ways for girls in these schools in Northern Virginia, the people that you represent. And you turn around and say like, oh, well, you know, it probably depends, right? Like, depends on what? I thought women's rights were inalienable, Abigail. Like, depends on who's going to vote for me.
And it's like, it really does drill down to like women's rights with a lot of these politicians, like, is just abortion, access to abortion. That's it. And then everything else is sort of this like nuanced, I don't know. We don't really know what a woman is until she wants to have an abortion, in which case she can have as many as she wants.
Well said.
It's crazy because when you're watching the podcast with like Gavin, it's like, I hate how much he just plays his base left and right, talks out of both sides of his mouth, like whenever it's convenient, especially on a show like Shawn Ryan's that has such a huge audience. And obviously Gavin Newsom, I think that a lot of his discussion when it comes to the gender debate is to appease the more middle ground Californians that, you know, he realizes, you know what, I need to change my tune when it comes to this, and trying to be relatable with his 8-year-old. But what if his 8-year-old son came to him and said, Dad, I want to be put on estrogen? Would Gavin Newsom trans his child?
Well, the laws that he has signed would...
He could do it without parental consent, actually.
Without parental consent.
And that's something so shocking is like, how are you going to sit on really the national stage and play both sides? It's pretty crazy to me.
It's so embarrassing. And I hope people can see right through this. I hope voters can see right through this and not even give him a chance in 2028, because it's like, you have no morals. You have no strong moral backbone. And every time you try to appeal to moderates, then something happens and you slide right back into the radical left, just dark pit that they have everyone tied into. And it's just it's ridiculous to watch.
Yeah, there has to be truth.
I used to be afraid of him as like a real contender, but now I'm like, no way.
To parallel your point too with Gavin Newsom on this, if that happened, he'd do what he did with COVID, which is shut down the public schools and put his kids in private school.
Exactly.
So like he would just say, rules for thee, but not for me.
Exactly.
Yeah. True. So we said over and over. Well, we're gonna hit pop culture here in a second. Jumping in, but before we do that, I want to give you an opportunity to promote again what you're up to with XXXY, and if people want to get involved, how can they do that?
So we one of the things that in these many conversations, like when I was getting kicked out of my former club, Jennifer Say was like, let's just start our own club. And it's like, yeah, let's do it. Let's start our own club. So they have sponsored, we're calling it Team Women. We are closed right now for memberships only because we print the singlets kind of in like big batches. So we will probably be reopening it soon, but we are a group of women of all ages, all experience levels, whether you walk, run, hike. We have a woman who swims. And for Title IX week, she swam 9 miles, and I'm so impressed. She's in her 60s. She is my queen. Her name is Jean. I call her Queen Jean.
That's incredible.
So it's a really amazing group of women, and we just kind of get together. We do various virtual challenges. We're getting prepared to do some kind of in-person regional stuff. We have a lot of really cool and exciting partnerships that we're excited to unveil upcoming. So keep an eye on social media for that, for reopening of Team Women. But yeah, and I've been working with XXXY as an affiliate. So if you want to use code NATPAT20, you get 20% off.
NATPAT?
Yep.
20?
My maiden name is Patterson. So I was NatPat for my entire life.
Aww.
Still am. But
NATPAT. That's cute.
Yep. And they're running a big sale right now.
So buy clothes.
Go get that. Go get yourself some cute end of summer stuff. So I'm prepared for the fall.
So good. So good. All right, well, Elise, I feel like there like the list of pop culture stuff this week was
so
long.
good. There's always so many things. And me and Morgan, we just have to talk about Justin Bieber's new album, Swag. Bring swag back, make America swag again.
I love it.
It's really interesting because a lot of people have been commenting on this album saying it's really bad, but then some of his diehard fans are like, yes, he's back. So have any of you guys listened to the album?
Yes.
What are our initial thoughts on Swag?
Do you want to go first, Virginia? Okay, so being totally honest, it is not my cup of tea. It's not my style of music. So I was a little disappointed because I think I was expecting like what we saw from Justin's last album. And I'm a big Bieber fan, not only because I think he's genuinely a very talented musician, but I like how honest and authentic he has been in sharing his story. I think it's very, very compelling. His Netflix special was just like this window into, oh my gosh, like this makes so much sense. Your story and why you made the decisions you did, and just a very relatable human in so many ways. So I think I appreciate the fact about his music that it feels like it's a little bit of a continuation of that journey of him being really authentic and sorting through his own stuff. And you kind of sense that. And it's just not the type of music that I love.
And for those of you who are not caught up on the Justin Bieber saga over the past few years, it's come to light that he spent a lot of time with Diddy, which we all know is not good. And not especially at a very young age when he was first breaking into the industry, and his parents were not industry people, so they really didn't know how to look after him. And nobody knew that Diddy was like horrible like this in the public eye yet. So people looking back, seeing all these interviews of them spending time together, even this one video coming out of Justin Bieber and Diddy was like, we're going to spend 20 or 48 hours together, no cameras, no nothing. It's a 15-year-old's dream. That's really scary. So even though Justin's team was like, hey, he never had any connection with Diddy like that, like let's call it like we can see it. So that's a little backstory on why it's such a big deal that he's come out with music so close to all this stuff with Diddy coming out, especially
the relationship rumors that have been going around with Hailey and Justin, of people being like, Hailey needs to divorce Justin, like their relationship is just tragic. He's going off the deep end, he's crashing out, which I don't think that was ever the case. Like they seem to be in the most happy, loving, healthy relationship.
I think they're just trying to live a little bit of a private life, which is all that's happening.
I mean, the public eye has never seen their son's face, which I respect heavily. And something that I love about Justin Haley, and especially with this album, is how much he praises Haley and talks about his family, because that's something that when you are at that level of fame, you can't just go out with your family and live a normal life. And I will say, is the album fully my cup of tea? No, I wouldn't put this album on repeat like I do, you know, My World 2.0 to this day. But I do have to say Daisies is really good. And I do like how Go Baby is kind of a tribute to Haley and her success. Like, you know, got my iPhone case, lip gloss on it. It's a cute line. And then even I think that having Sexy Red on Sweet Spot was a very interesting decision. I think there's a lot of other artists that could have been featured on that album that would have been a better artistic choice. But I do think that the diehard Bieber fans that are saying this album is phenomenal, I think they're lying. And I think they're trying to convince themselves that every single song is really good and prove to everyone like, well, no, I'm a bigger Bieber fan than you. It's giving like Never Say Never tour when everybody was like, no, I'm a bigger believer than you are. I'm going to marry Justin. I'm going to be the one less lonely girl. And I'm like, sit down.
They're
no,
like, gun to your head, what time was he born? It's 12:56 a.m. on Tuesday, March 1st, if you didn't know. But,
is that true?
It's March 1st, 1994, 12:56 a.m.
Well, I've been seeing videos like, if you can't rap Ludacris's line, then you don't get to be in the Ticketmaster queue. And it's kind of funny. I feel like it's a really good fan base.
Yeah, it's
for
fun.
tat.
It's been fun to grow up in it. I will say, I saw this theory, and I actually do kind of agree with it. Ever since all the Diddy stuff came out, he's kind of gone off the grid for the past 5 years musically.
True.
And he broke up with Scooter Braun, who also famously broke up with Taylor Swift as like their managers. People are saying that the industry and the people who review music are saying that this is bad because he's just trying to live his life detached from all of the Hollywood craziness. But then it's like Rotten Tomatoes, you see bad critics score, great audience score. So that's my theory. And I was like, you know what? I like that. I can get with that. And
his fan base will always be loyal to him.
Yeah,
always.
I just love Justin Bieber. So
he was definitely wronged by the industry in many ways.
Yeah, and talk about the industry just kind of being a rough place to make it if you're trying to have values. Chip and Joanna Gaines, a fixer-upper. It's so bad. They just released a new TV show called Back to the Frontier, where they have 3 families who live a frontier lifestyle.
The 1800s.
Yes.
Which I can get behind. I want chickens.
I love that. Let's go back.
And it's very interesting because in their trailer, and I don't know, has the first episode come out yet? They had a couple, and it's 2 men sex with their adopted sons, and just the backlash followed. Not just because, well, a lot of people think this is wrong, but because their fan base is Christians. It is like, they are not like a quote unquote Christian brand, but I mean, they're from Waco, Texas. They're evangelicals.
And they're pretty open about their faith.
They're very open about their faith.
And
And they've honestly like not gotten too political in the past. So it's been really disappointing for their fans.
I think what surprised me about this situation and them choosing to feature a same-sex couple in this show was I have to an extent respected the fact that they just didn't want to speak out on political issues. They didn't want to speak out on hot button issues. They kind of wanted to appeal to everybody. And so they said, okay, I'm going to let my faith and my background kind of be the thing that speaks the loudest. But when it comes to policy type issues, we're just going to stay silent and not lean in. So then for them to not only feature this couple, but then Chip was pretty vocal about pushing back. And when people started kind of raising a flag and being like, what are you guys doing? Yeah. He was like, you're just haters.
He was like, it's too much to ask of you guys, of modern American Christians, to understand, judge first, listen, never / later. I'm like, come on, Chip.
As a Christian saying that to other Christians who are calling out Christians, like, the Bible even says, like, it is okay to question other Christians and like ask them like, hey, like, this is not very Christian and biblical of you. But I do want to say that Chip and Joanna Gaines have stayed, I feel like, kind of out of their faith a lot more than people realize. Like, this is very an outwardly expression of that. But go back to Target Pride collection. Their collection, Magnolia, is in every single Target in the country. And when all of the pride backlash with Target was happening, Chip and Joanna Gaines said nothing. Magnolia Home said nothing. And I've been to Waco, where their Magnolia, village is, and it's fun to go. But, they have stayed very much outside of the political LGBTQ light. And to be honest, this is the first time that I've seen them make a outward pro LGBTQ statement in such a big way when you're promoting a gay couple with adopted children. It is one thing to support gay people. It's another, I think, to support gay people with adopted children, which, maybe they're theirs biologically by one side, but it is not in God's design. It is not natural. And we've gotten to this place in society. And I think this is somewhere that as Christians, whether Catholic, evangelical, whatever you may say, we have to stand up for what is the truth and call it out. This is not okay. And Christians, I feel like over time and time again lately have really bent the knee to the left and the woke ideologies of the society, saying, you know what, it is okay for gay marriage. It is okay for gay couples to have children via surrogacy, IVF, or whatever. And here you have a Christian couple that's adored by everybody. They say nothing.
I just think it's ridiculous too, because they absolutely did not have to do this. I don't know why this decision was made, but because of their fan base and because they've been pretty apolitical, everyone's come to accept that over the past decade, and they're pretty cool for that. So no one's really expecting them to throw all the wokeness in their TV show. So when they did it, it was one thing. And when they doubled down and defended it, it was another thing.
And it definitely was a choice too.
And this is when it's that same kind of idea of oh, you have morals. How dare you kind of stand on those morals? It's the weaponized empathy thing again, kind of, where it's they poke at it where it's well, you're not a very good Christian if you don't just let everybody do what they want. Well, it's that's not the point, right? Can't we agree on that?
No. Everything has to be politically correct, including jokes.
Oh my gosh, including jokes, but not Mr. Shane Gillis. He's become one of my favorite comedians. He's so funny, and he just does not care, but not
no one is safe from Shane Gillis.
Really, nobody's safe, and I love it. Even conservatives, liberals, apolitical. It's so funny. So actually, we're going to run the clip here of a few of his jokes from the ESPYs last night, which is the ESPN ESPYs. It was their ESPN Sports Awards show. I wish I had a better answer of what that is, but I don't. So let's run the clip here.
4-time WNBA All-Star Brittany Hicks is here. Give it up for Brittany, everybody. I'm joking around. That's my friend's wife. I knew none of you knew WNBA players. When Caitlin Clark retires from the WNBA, she's going to work at a Waffle House so she can continue doing what she loves most, fist fighting black women. Joe Rogan actually wanted me to be here to host this award show so that I could capture Adam Silver because Joe thinks he's an alien. And Donald Trump wanted me to be here to capture Juan Soto for the same reason. It's an alien joke. Who booed up there, dude? Shut up. Donald Trump wants to stage a UFC fight on the White House lawn. The last time he staged a fight in D.C., Mike Pence almost died. All right. No, you don't have to do that. It was fine. I didn't write it. Actually, there was supposed to be an Epstein joke here, but as it got deleted. Must have probably deleted itself, right? Probably never existed, actually. Let's move on as a country and ignore that.
Those are a few of the bits, and there were so many more bits, but he's just so funny, and I really enjoy that, at least at this event, he could make these jokes, and for the most part, everyone was laughing at them, no matter if he was making fun of women's sports or conservatives. No one is safe, and I think that's really the point. And when people aren't laughing or even tried to boo him, he's like, what are you doing? It's 2025, you can't boo me.
Unapologetic comedy needs to resurface because the early 2000s I think were the peak of cinema, comedy, the music industry. You could say things that weren't politically that yeah, we're politically incorrect, but you wouldn't get canceled over it. And like, it seems like Shane Gillis and only a couple other comedians say these things. They're like the only uncancelable people. But, you know, if one person on Twitter were to say something about Epstein files or Trump in that way, it's like the world is ending.
Yeah.
Need to bring
Maybe
it
we
back.
should make that our question of the week. Like, tell us the best politically incorrect joke you've
Ooh,
heard.
that's a good
Oh.
one.
Be appropriate.
Or not. I don't know.
Make it spicy.
You can use your alt account.
Yeah, seriously. Do you watch Shane Gillis or have you watched him?
So I have watched Tires because
So
my
good.
husband started watching it, and I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be so dumb," and then he was like, "No, it's hilarious," and it is so,
It's so
funny, and it reminds me of like Trailer Park Boys. I don't know if you guys have ever
Yeah, I've
watched
seen
that
it.
show, but that's like that same kind of humor. We're kind of just gonna hit everybody, and
Yeah.
it's gonna be like dirty and hilarious, and yeah, I thought it was hilarious.
In like a deeper sense, not that it has to be deep because it's like a comedy set, but this is exactly what I think the country and the culture needs as like a whole thing, not just conservatives versus liberals. Like, honestly, in my opinion, I don't think we need like conservative media places and conservative specific movies because oftentimes those come off as really cringy. But how do we kind of honor those conservative values of being like, hey, free speech, say whatever you want as long as it's good and funny, we'll laugh. Stuff like this. It doesn't have to be conservative angle. It's just be good at what you do, be funny. And I really enjoyed that.
And there's definitely like a clean angle to that with some of the stuff on Angel Studios, which I do kind of appreciate. Like some of it is a little bit cringy, but like some of it is genuinely funny and a lot of it's genuinely good.
Really good. Really well made.
Yeah, like that's, and it doesn't have to be religious. It's not like Veggie Tales.
Yeah.
It's, you know, it's
It's
got. I know. I also my
Childhood.
my son has only watched Winnie the Pooh the old Winnie the Pooh, and 90s Barney. But that's the next step is Veggie Tales.
Love it.
I don't know. I'm Catholic. I never watched Veggie Tales.
You have to go back and watch it now.
You actually, it's good. You'll be
Larry the Tomato.
Yeah.
You'll get sucked in. There's like a 10-hour one on YouTube. Just look it up.
Okay.
So good.
Bob and
It'll be fun.
Larry.
Put it on back in the.
Oh, wait, no, it was Larry the Cucumber.
Larry the Cucumber, Bob the Tomato.
There you go.
Yep.
His cheeseburger.
So good.
Oh, the cheeseburger song.
Somebody did like a piano version
Really?
of that, and I was like, I wish that I could get married again so that I could walk down the aisle to this like romantic piano version of his cheesburger.
I'm gonna look this up.
Have
now.
everyone be like, is that what I was thinking?
I was just confused.
Go viral again for a different reason.
Oh, yeah.
To erase everything.
Then okay, this is hateful to
Vegans.
other vegetables.
Oh gosh.
Anyway.
Okay. Question of the week. Last week, we'll do a quick question we can review. So last week we asked, what was your most unhinged idea for family formation? So we got some good ones. Someone agreed with me. So Statsman 1588 also said arranged marriage.
Bring that back.
Let's go.
I thought you explained it really well. I will say that because I was like, I'm not on with this one.
Like a modified version.
Yes, modified version. I got
Modified.
it.
You can go back
Tracking.
and listen to my explanation if you missed last week. Britbo Slopper wrote, lower taxes, not a rebate, lower taxes. Yeah, I think that does help. I don't think that's radical. Good job. Natty Eyes 2020 wrote, is that
That is really me.
That's funny.
That's so funny. Full
that
circle
is
moment.
hilarious.
Because you didn't know I'm a fan.
Do you want to share what your idea was?
Yeah, sure. So this was when I was pregnant. Everybody was like, kiss your life goodbye. You'll never go out. Your whole life will be just like laying on the floor with high contrast cards and rattles. And you know, like 4 days after my son was born, we went for a walk and then we went and had a drink at a bar.
Amazing.
Like, and I was like, why don't more like breweries and these like, you know, kind of family friendly restaurants with bars like put up a play set, like have more family nights, like get
funny.
more parents and kids, like encourage more like kids in adult places, I guess is the story, is the idea.
Normalize it.
That's very popular, I feel like, in Germany, but it's
Yeah.
just like a great place for people to meet, like adults to meet other adults with kids and kids to run around and play and parents to have a beer and
That's
feel
good
like an
to
adult.
socialize kids too, so they're
Yeah.
around adults outside of school if they're
Yeah.
not homeschooled. So.
So, but I got people are like, no, kids don't belong in bars, or like
Hell yeah,
you
they
should
do.
be drinking around your kids.
I mean, at like 2 a.m. Yeah, you're right. But
Yeah, fair
at
enough.
like
Yeah.
7 o'clock at night, it's
Yeah.
like
It's
if
like
you're at a
those, like,
local brewery.
outdoor like beer houses, like you know, where it
Yeah.
is more of like an outdoor family friendly environment. I could see that. The underground like bar scene, maybe not.
Yeah,
I mean, I
maybe
don't
not a
drink,
club.
so I don't go to bars.
Maybe
But
not Dan's Cafe, if you guys know what that is. Like,
I was over at Butterworth's like a month ago, and I looked over, did a double take. See someone like the bartender holding up someone's baby behind the
love
bar.
that.
And I was like, wait, how many drinks did I have?
It
It was only one, so that was really happening. A real
Yeah.
baby at Butterworth's.
and this
so.
is front of my mind because my church meets at a brewery.
that's
So
cool.
the owner of the brewery just like offered up the space for our church because we don't have one home. But we have tons of like
that's awesome.
family events at the brewery. And I'm
kinda
like,
cool.
why don't more places do this?
Yeah,
it just
Like,
makes
sense.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So that's it's fairly unhinged, I guess. But yeah, that is me.
I love it.
Natty, it's 2010.
So for the question this week, we're going to go with that. We're going to go with your best non-politically correct joke.
Yeah.
Tell us.
Tell us your
Tell
joke.
it.
Give us your spicy take.
Yeah. Don't put any foul language in it though, because then I can't read it. So, keep it semi-clean.
PG-13.
PG-13. Yeah, exactly. Wow. I mean, there was so much more we could have gotten to today. We covered a lot though. So thank you guys again for joining us. Don't forget to hit subscribe and like. We so appreciate you guys being with the show. And Natalie, thank you.
Thank you so much for
joining
having
us.
me.
Tell us the code one more time to get our 20% off.
20. NATPAT 20.
Taking it XXXY Athletics. Awesome. We'll see y'all back here next week.